Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next session of The Surge. We've got Luuk from Contrast and Matt Bolian here from Supered. We're going to talk about how you can make your events not suck. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, what up? I'm really excited about this one in particular because we're both customers of each other. So this is fun. So it's like customer. This is true customer love, intimacy. So what we'll be sharing today is talking about how Supered uses contrast, and not just from not getting to nitty gritty. We'll talk about that, but why it fits our methodology. There's a lot of webinar tools out there. Here's why we think contrast is the best and the modern way of creating demand. And I'll explain that from a methodology. We'll talk a lot more about it. And then on the main stage is then Luuk showing how he is using, it's not necessarily using Supered. This is mostly going to be about how he's answering a problem that app partners have in the HubSpot ecosystem. So we'll go through that. So I'm sharing my screen, which I accidentally had this shared before. And we'll go through all the stuff. Share my screen again, and to make sure we have all stuff set up all good.
There we go.
Okay, so just some admin stuff as we go is I'm gonna click through these. I'm gonna go through this. So things that are new from Supered in general is if you haven't seen guides in a while, I think it's really important you look at them. The reason it's important is because guides have a facelift, and they're also very stable now. Why that matters is because you can get highlights on selectors, and we had problems with people recreating things. Now you can just recreate. It's never an issue. So just know if you've had any issues in the past where, the guides weren't working, we've essentially rebuilt guides from the ground up. You'll see nothing on the front end except the highlighting of selectors. And then what's upcoming is we'll be making guides agentic. So you'll guides that you create for people actually click through where you've clicked, and we'll have some stops, but it'll be an agentic guide that you're allowing people to do work really, really, really fast and have the input information as needed. So no, that's coming. That's on the horizon. That's a short term, not a long term. That's not some dream. That's coming. Number 2, process rules. Put it out there. Very specific as process rules. We now have Salesforce is released. So it is now there. If you go, everybody has access to it. Number 2 is this is brand new as of today, and it gets to where we're going, is you can report on violations by record. And so if you go to process rules, you actually see the violations, and it will take you to direct record they're violating. This gets setting up for the bigger. We're actually aggregating the entire database. Is what the big that's coming out. Slack integration came out today, and so that means you can now forward command Supered. And you can either look for guides, look for content, look for action plans directly from Slack. It also puts your tasks that you have. So I'll be putting out some more information on that. And that comes out. That was released today. We haven't necessarily launched it. We have the new video. They're called No Heroes. Fun to watch. These are so it's a hazing. It's almost these are new. It sounds like a hazing tradition to be in a video for Supered. Not really, but kind of. And things are coming. We're all just full bore on what we call zero boards. You will know a lot what that means when it comes out, but this will be the ability to see all violations across the entire database in terms of process rules, aggregate that at the full level, and be able to see I have a process, people that are violating it, and manage it to 0. And over time, you'll be able to then see the individual violators of that, but also are we moving towards 100% compliance? You'll be able to see over time whether your people are following your process. And so you think Supered is a tool, we help people create adoption, but it may be more as we help you get compliant, so your frameworks are operationalized, so then you can know you can trust your data. So that's coming. There's a lot more coming from that. Okay, events. We just finished all. Let me put some action plan here so I have the complete. We're now doing the surge right now with contrast. The next one we have is actually amplified ops, and they've completely standardized on Supered. They only do Supered implementations. And they'll talk about how to run client delivery in Supered from Supered. One big thought is Supered is hiring. If you saw that post, we're doing for brand marketing. We call it like center of gravity. That's what we call it, which you'll learn more about here in a second. And then we're going all in on Supered. People have been asking us how do I go all in on Supered, and you will hear us talk about certifications and accreditations here in a little bit as we push those out next week in 2 weeks. Just a big picture. Okay, that's all that I got on this. Now let's get into actually the meat and potatoes why we're here. So number one, I'm going to talk about how Supered uses contrast. And so what is contrast? Your own contrast. You've experienced contrast. You've been on this. You signed up for it. You have it. You know, there's like how we do reoccurring surges. I think the question that I think is most important is why did Supered pick contrast? Why do we standardize around it for webinars? And I only use the word webinars here because that's what people call them. We do not call them webinars internally. And so I'm going to go to, and I think this is really important. And Luke, we should probably, as we call surround bound methodology, we could probably do a whole surround bound methodology to actually showcase more of contrast itself, just saying out loud. So the point is, what the heck is surround bound? Is we do surround bound. What does that mean? That means at any given time. So like right here, do I even care how many people show up to this webinar? We call a webinar to Surge? Not really, because we redistribute our content in such a way that I know this is going to hit thousands of people. Thousands of people. And so we try to get people, we just know, and you'll see how this comes. Surround bound is, we are for ICP, and that's really anybody in the HubSpot ecosystem. There's an end user, there's a sales operations RevOps, or a solutions partner. We are everywhere all at once. You cannot, it's really, y'all know this. Anybody here? It's really hard to say, I haven't seen Supered. You may say, I don't know what the freak they do. That's something different, but you can't say you haven't seen us. That's our surround bound methodology. And that requires a different way of organizing and even a different way and some principles. So as example, we don't call anything marketing. And D and I have been, we don't use the word marketing anywhere. We create media. We have a media department that its entire job is to create gravity. Gravity meaning there's an attraction. It starts rotating. You start people. We create communities. We create ecosystems. So it's a different way of thinking. And so I think the best way to do that is via media department. This is not a new thought. I think just people have failed to implement it. So example of this is we have our media department, which people think we have like 15 people. That's our entire company. It's like 15 to 18 people. Everybody in Supered produces content. Everybody's a talent. We call them talents. You'll see the common language in a second. Our media department is D. You have some Ashley that puts it, and then we have 2 video editors. Like we literally only have 2 video because everything we do, we redistribute, and I'll just show that. So it affects how we organize. It's not just a word. It's actually organizationally affects us. It also affects us, and I've done full webinars on this. I'll post this out on Surround Bound. It's actually a package you can go look at where I teach you the actual tactical way of doing this. But it even comes to the effect of it changes the way we do like sales structure. We don't do individual commission, we do team commission because everybody's creating content. It's very difficult when there's no attribution or in a dark funnel to be able to, it actually de-incentivizes our entire go-to-market if we do individual commission. So we have to restructure our sales team. So we're getting to like why we do contrast. It's all really important, right? It's all really important. You'll get to it. Principles. We believe in people. I think this is a fact. It's a law of the jungle, as they say. Quantity is greater than quality. Now, people get angry about that. I don't mean a bunch of AI generated crap. And I don't mean goggly goop for blog. I don't mean regurgitating crap. I mean, when you do one good thing, it's important to do it. It's redistribution, and it's about having thoughtful things over and over again all the time. And if you do that, you will actually get better and it will create higher quality. Okay, so a next thing is we run networks, which requires new language. So that is, and just here's some of the language. And we have a document we can give. I'll give this out to afterwards. Is the brand in which you run is a network. So we consider Supered as a network. Underneath that, we have platforms we actually host our content in. Our hosting content, our host is actually YouTube. We run series. This is a topic or point. It's a view or bias with a host that is reoccurring with a specific cadence, with a specific release date over again. So example, which that would be like, what's that called? That's called a webinar. That's called a podcast. And so this surge event is not a webinar. So contrast is there a webinar? I would say, hey, no, you're actually, for me, you're a company that allows me to run series. That's what you are for me, like a specific type of series. Mini series are like it just is a short point in time. So sometimes I'll do a mini series on a specific topic, right? I'm gonna say, here's how I did a rollout summer school like 2 years ago, like a long time ago. Episodes are the things that fit within series. This is an episode specifically about contrast, as an example. We do trailers, and we organize this way, guys. We did a trailer for this where I came and said, hey, we're going to be here. Here's what we're going to talk about. We then have a LinkedIn post, which is our distribution channel. It's a channel where we distribute. Okay, so I'm just giving you this. We're going to take this and we're going to redistribute this as YouTube Shorts. We're going to redistribute, which are commercials. And we have plot recaps. We sometimes put two surges together. So I'm giving you all these things. This is how we think about things. And so just give some examples is, what is a LinkedIn post? A channel used to distribute commercials, trailers, plots based on a series. That's what it is. A podcast is a series released on multiple platforms within a network used to create episodes of commercials. So what is a webinar? I don't know, that's twice. So rethinking webinars. Webinar is a series used to distribute. And I say all this stuff is get contrast. I haven't used as many webinar or like trying to get webinars done in my career. Get contrast of anything I've used allows us to execute surround bound in ways that's not possible to other webinar platforms. And very specific, and it works really good in HubSpot, which is also our, like, it fits the whole surround bound. We're doing the ecosystem. And so like all this cool stuff that you see backstage, I have my screen shared. You can see here, this actually auto creates content for us when we finish. It creates snips for it does all these things that we just believe in, that they have, that in some ways, whether they call it surround bound or not, they are also believing in. It's the new modern way of running something. That contrast just lets us do our methodology. And one of the things I love the most, and there's so many different, and y'all could always go talk to contrast. It's not contrast commercial. It's like, this is what I love the most. And one of the things I love about it is it allows us to, the way we run our support is, I'm going to go here, is like we run all of our events through this, and it allows us to have one place where we have landing pages auto created. It allows us to auto record. It allows us to come in, allows us to do comments, it allows us to get all that information directly into HubSpot. So we have one place where we can take any of this unstructured data and make it structured, which is a CRM. And so it allows us to funnel it in with very easy ways for people to go. So example is we have a kickoff call that we do for any new clients that are coming. We send them here. You see who's running it. They can sign up for it. We've had our past SOCs. We have all our one-on-ones. Every week we do 3 webinars, but it's actually the same. It's a series called Get Supered 101 Action Plans Camp and Package Builder. So it's like how this materializes. Surge is another example of how we do this. So hopefully you all see this. This is how we standardize. You can see it like very practically. The tactics of running the webinar, I think y'all can talk. Y'all can go on a demo and like see it. It is the best. That's why we're using it. But that's how we've turned theory into very practical ways of running a media department that creates a series that people traditionally call webinars, where we can run surround bound. If you want to go more, we can talk offline, but obviously, hey, that is why we do contrast. So if you have any questions, some in, and I think we'll do it at the end. What I want to do is next is just ramp up Luke. And I want to give the frame to this. Then I'm let him take it. And this will be different. I've showed you, I'm working inside of my surge, sharing my screen. He will eventually be sharing his screen. Number 2 is he's going to show you very tactical things inside HubSpot that I think will be very helpful for you to look at. So here's a problem set that and I say this because I talk to a lot of solutions partners. I talk to a lot of HubSpot app partners, and I talk to a lot of HubSpot end users, or like CRM users in general. And one of the things you talk about HubSpot app partners struggle with, and this is ubiquitous across any app, honestly. So we actually have app partners that have nothing to do with HubSpot that use us to do implementations. It is, how do we help users experience the power of our platform? This is explicitly true, especially when you're really good in an ecosystem. It's like contrast is really good inside HubSpot. Like they have integrations that are superior and bar none to other webinar platforms, if you would, with HubSpot. And so, but that requires configuration sometimes in a platform, in a place where you don't own the code or you can't guide people to do things. So you enter these three things every single time. Is the moment something's signed is a ticking time bomb. Because you now have to get value very quickly. You have this cool system, but why is it better than something else that's not as good in HubSpot? It's the moment it's done is you must create something very, very, very fast for them. Number two is often webinars, like there's sometimes SMB users, or even if you're enterprise users, you just have non-technical users. When I mean SMB, I mean non-technical. And these are people like, they're afraid to create a property because sometimes people orchestrating the webinar aren't the people with all the power. And they actually been told, don't ever create property. And so sometimes you need to create property. Sometimes you need to have like lead scores to actually get a lot of the value of the data you're creating. You need to operationalize the data. It's difficult when you don't own the platform. And number three is, in general, B2B expectations are now more like B2C. And so what I mean is people expect same day delivery. They expect at least 2-day delivery. And so when an app doesn't immediately provide value, they just will, whether we want to or not, that's the world we live in. So there are 4 ways that Luke's going to talk about how he specifically addresses these 3 problems. The first, he'll show you a dashboard that helps organize and helps immediately get value if you're using Contrast. I'll show you how he helps people do lead scoring, which is creating properties and does it in a pretty cool way with process rules. How they've created, they actually have a UI extension that's new, where they like, it's really unique ways to see recording, like get more value out of your webinars. That's cool, that we'll show that you can auto configure with the package he'll show. And last is just how they're embedding some training and guides. Okay, with this, Luke, I'm going to hand it over to you and say, here's how Contrast gets value for HubSpot users very, very quickly.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. We struggle a lot with getting people to use our data inside HubSpot. I think this is such a big problem for many companies. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I think Supered exists. What we see all the time, either it's a platform problem. Luckily, we have been solving that by pushing as much data as we can to HubSpot. But then you have the people and process problem. The more we dive into this, the more often we hear, okay, but how do I use properties? How do I put that into workflows? Okay, but I don't have the rights to actually do this in HubSpot. Or when we talk to marketing teams, which are typically the buyers of Contrast, they say, I did my part. Now it's sales' job to do their part. And sales, the only thing that they do is they look at contacts and they start calling them. So I think historically at Contrast, we have always been, okay, we're not just people that want to checkbox features in order for us to sell Contrast. We are mostly product people, so we thrive by adoption. And I think this is where Supered is really helping us, is it's helping us to get our customers to adopt the features in HubSpot. And that makes them super powerful. So we can start at the end, which is typically the most fuzzy thing that people struggle with. How do I prove that my webinars are working? This is the biggest question that we hear from people. Most people are still stuck in the land of, okay, I got 128 registrants, so I did well. Anyone that works in marketing knows that that is not the end goal, right? What we are after is we want to know how many customers do we generate from our webinars. What is the pipeline that we generate from those webinars? But measuring that is, unless you go into the sales call and you ask them, hey, did you watch one of our webinars? Completely fuzzy, completely impossible. So what we have done is delivered over 20 properties that allow you to understand how people engage with your webinars. And then combine that, of course, with default properties in HubSpot. We're going to figure out with one click with this dashboard, how many customers do we generate? So as you can see right here, I'm looking at the month of May. We had a webinar 2 weeks ago. We had 3 customers from that webinar, which is kind of okay. We generated 150, I think there's dollars in terms of revenue. We can look at the pipeline. We can look at webinar influence revenue. This happens to be the same. And we can also do things like, okay, let's look at how these people have been finding out about our webinars. Super, super powerful. I think what I love about Supered is that this is literally one click, right, Matt, to install the package. This cost me, I think, 6 hours to set up on my end. Through an academy. We have a big academy on HubSpot. So it is there, it exists. I know HubSpot pretty well, and it still took me like a few hours to set this up. With Super, this is one click. So people install the package, they get this. They can immediately see the effect of contrast that it has on the webinars that they run. So I think that's the first thing. Matt also mentioned the lead scoring. Kind of difficult to do in HubSpot. I want to make sure that people that use contrast, they have non-negotiables in terms of value that they get. Not just at the end of it, but also that, okay, when they check out a contact right inside HubSpot, they can understand, okay, what the contrast do for me. So here I'm looking at a colleague, Lauren. She has watched more than one webinar. And actually, as a matter of fact, she watched 5 of our webinars or more, right? So what I have set up in the background with process rules is different way of qualifying the people that we have on contrast. And again, it's using something as fuzzy as properties in order to display this data. So we have 12 in total. I have hot leads, I have warm leads, I have cold leads. We do all of this right inside HubSpot by displaying it like this on both the contact level, but also if I go to a company, in this company, none of the contacts have actually engaged with our webinars in the last 30 days, right? So then I can even dive into the people that work at that company and I can check out, okay, let's look at Olivia. And again, for Olivia, I can see, okay, she actually did watch one of our webinars, but in the last 60 days, she hasn't been active. We use this all the time because it gives us a super quick overview of, okay, within a company, who are the people that are watching our content? Who are the people that are engaging? Who are no longer engaging with us? And that, of course, is the data that we want to feed back to sales, right? That's the lead scoring part with process engagement rules. There's another thing, which I think is super hacky, the way that we have done it. But if it works, it works. Super happy if it works. We have these cards. So this is a new, relatively new feature from HubSpot. It's still in beta. So what it does, it actually bypasses our integration. So it's a direct link to our API. So we don't have to update our integration all the time. HubSpot doesn't have access to this data. We display this using HubSpot's UI component kit directly on top of HubSpot, okay? So this is a card. And normally if you need to ask your customer to add a card to a view, again, they don't have the rights. They don't know how to do it. With Super, this is one click again. So what we have here is contrast engagement timeline. That is a card that shows you all of the webinars people have watched, then shows you, okay, how much did they watch them? And if I click here on poll answers, I can literally see, okay, what did they say in chat? What did they answer on polls? So this makes it possible for us to not only tell marketing, okay, you have all that data, but also so that marketing can go to sales without having to train them on contrast or on data. They directly have this data by installing the Super package. So I think that's incredible. And of course, there's other things like, okay, we have these little lightning bolts right here that help explain features, right? So as you can see here, it's how to use this. We also have that for all of our properties right there. So it exactly tells people what to do. So I think the combination of these things is what helps us drive adoption of contrast within HubSpot, but ultimately also prove the value of webinars within that organization, both on the marketing and sales side. Nothing like that.
Love it. Yeah, I'm going to be, Luke, question is from what I saw some, is this package something that people can have, like something that they could go and download themselves?
Yeah, of course. I think Dana has the link, which she plugged right now.
Oh, so yeah, this is a CTA, and you can actually plug the contrast super package in, and now there it is. So you can click save and it will take you there. So yeah, and this all delivered via just a magic link. And what's really cool, you get a dashboard, you get a UI record customization, you get the process rules, and you get all the information. And so especially if there's any Supered partners out there as well that are using this, you could standardize an offering and help build contrast into what you help marketing teams do and actually help them execute this very quickly, which is another nice add. So do we have any questions from the people? You have the head of product from Contrast here. So any questions about Contrast itself, his experience using Super, like any questions you'll have for Luuk? I'll keep it open for a hot second.
Do you have a question for me, Matt? I mean, you have been using Contrast. You're talking on Contrast. How much have you been using it?
We've, we use Contrast for now. How long have we used it? I mean, this is almost taking D off because how many attendees can we host in a webinar from Jenny? This question.
I have to use my favorite feature to.
Whoa!
You guys ever use this feature?
Whoa!
You don't?
No. These are I've never used this feature, and it's like making my head pop up as I talk. Heck yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good question, Jenny. Essentially, as how many you want, which is the sales answer. So I think for free you can contrast with 30 people. Okay, no questions asked whatsoever. And then we have different pricing plans. So we generally price on number of registrants, and we have packages of 100 people, we have packages of 200 people, 600. If you need more than that, we're happy to discuss it as well. And we have run events up to 20K. So anywhere in between, I'm sure that we can fit people and they can use Contrast.
Love it. Yeah, you're that was really cool, Luuk. Thank you. I didn't know what you just did was even possible. Here we go. I'm gonna try to figure out how you did that. Oh, I did it. Okay. Okay. What are some of the out-of-box properties you can use with HubSpot? So yeah, I guess what properties are you adding? And so this is from D. And so we've been using, I'll say this out loud, so I'll put some context here. We internally use Get Contrast. I say Get Contrast. That's the URL, Contrast. And we love it. D picked it. As I was saying, here's our requirements as we were going through, and I've not ever had any issues with it. That said, I think we're not technically using like all the properties and being the lead story. What you just showed me, we're not doing internally yet. Mm-hmm. So I get that generates here. What come out of the box? What do we need to add? What are you going to add new when we do that? So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so we mainly have properties right now around registration and how they found you. Okay. So I think we have over 20 properties. I can just pull them up super quickly right here. So things that we do is, okay, how many times did people register, right? You can then use that within your qualification. We do things, how many times did people watch the webinar live or on replay? So we have all of that information there. Then we give all of the UTM parameters. We pass that as well. We do things like when did they for the first time join? When were they last active, right? So we give you almost a full toolkit to understand how people are active on Contrast or if they're no longer active so that you can also take action on that. We are very soon also shipping engagement properties, but that is a little bit more difficult because engagement, you can only talk about the last webinar, right? So what you can do there is okay, for the last webinar, how many polls did they answer? Something like that, or what was the last poll answer? So we're thinking of how to properly do this. It's one of the reasons why we, in the meantime, launched this Contrast engagement timeline to give people access to that. But I think very soon what we will do is, okay, they answered at least 6 polls over X amount of webinars, so that you can say, okay, I only want to qualify people that have answered 5 webinars or sent any chat messages.
What I love about this type of information, and so we haven't institutionalized it. We've been this year, like Supered, we run a media department. And what I've been focused on, if you saw an order, is create quantity. And so we're getting to the where we have quantities done. Like we have quantity. And so we're coming back and starting to think about, okay, how many people have attended webinars? Who has never attended one? And so this right here, activating that is going to be so incredibly useful. And it's so nice that contractors have been doing it without me knowing about it. I'd say that like it's nice. So
yeah, I mean, I think that the great thing about what we do is that we have no CSVs, no whatsoever policy. So you have that data, even if you are not using it, you still have it. So you can go back to the very first day that you have been using Contrast, and you will have that data, which I like because I love data. I'm historically like from origin a product manager, so I love data. You know, the more I have of it, the better it is.
Yeah, this is hot. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one. This is, oh gosh, I think I skipped someone. I don't know what I just happened. Any exciting features or updates planned that you can give a sneak peek of? Is this now? By the way, I got stuff here as well, but I think they're talking to you, Luke.
we can both answer this.
Okay.
So the CTA that you just saw, super fresh. We tested it out last week ourselves. Then HubSpot, which is now a customer of Contrast as well, has tested it out, and you guys are the third to test it out. So it seems that it's working, which is great. And then something new that we're also launching is local recording. So of course, every webinar on Contrast is automatically recorded, but I think for you guys, Matt, local recording is going to save the day, because what it's doing is creating individual files, no matter what our internet connection is, in 1080p, and storing that locally. So you get a video of you, I get a video of you, I get a video of myself, and then whatever tool you're using, you can start repurposing that in the best possible quality. So for things like podcasts, suddenly we're opening the door there.
I like that.
Yeah.
I just played around with the CTA, and if I can do something quickly, like click me, and that's really fun. So this is actually pretty cool. I like the ability to be able to change it in the moment and change those out as we're talking for questions. Like, by the way, just
and we'll actually update live.
Which, that's what just happened. I just
exactly.
updated that live. Which is really cool. So yes, I like it. Yeah, for us is I can. I'll show you this right now. I'll share my screen. I think I'm already sharing my screen. No, I'm not. I'm going to reshare my screen. Move this out of the way. So we have like if you go to this for process rules today, and so example is we have a bunch of process rules. So number one, first off, everything's list view. You're welcome. It's finally here. I'm sorry about it not being list view for a bit. We made a poor decision. We're moving everything to list view. So in general, we're about to put bulk edits, and so you know how we have guides, and you have action plans, and you have and you want to be able to do things in bulk. That's coming very, very soon. And you're starting to see the first things we do process rules here. So that's number one. Number two is what's really cool about this, and you're starting to see us aggregate across the database, is let's say, because some of these were like fake for us. Let me get like a real one we use. Let's put this. If I look at this, I can actually see we released it. We haven't optimized it yet. So we haven't launched it, meaning propagating it everywhere, but we're releasing it. So here's a release of this rule. And this rule is no next meeting or low demo score. Meaning, hey, we have this all done through Ask Elephant, and demo score is actually generated from an AI tool we use Ask Elephant. In the analytics here, I can come and I can see over this last month how many records have been triggered that have have a low demo score or actually violation of this rule. And then when I have that, I'm going to just click a random, and you'll see this is the numbers, but it'll actually take me to that record. And this is a website inbound. And you'll see the arrow shows up, and you can actually tell you what to do. So we're moving to a path, guys, where we're aggregating these process rules into one view where you're calling zero boards, and then we're making it where you can quickly, both from a rep level, know exactly what to do, prioritize, and then from a manager level, know where, what heads to pound. And so you can operationalize frameworks. This is going to be super helpful, even with Get Contrast. So you see, this is going to change the way you can okay, show me everybody. Just show me this. It's actually really, really powerful. This is the most asked for product release that we've gotten for the last 2 years. And we said not yet because we need everything else first. So it's going to be a big deal. That's mine. I'll then we do have a Slack integration where you can / and that's the last. I'm gonna go back to questions. And so like, here's a great thing. Literally, guys, Luke didn't push that. I'm not pushing that. D is in the background and backstage, just pushing these buttons for us. That makes this really easy. Talk about running series and webinars. That's why it's in there. Can we use callouts in the contact deal to create workflow notifications? Having this information is what's great, but it would be even better if I contribute a message to the contact owner.
Yeah, this is elite level HubSpot if you're doing this. What we do, for example, is for every webinar we host, we typically ask the question, what CRM are you using? If they answer HubSpot, it triggers using a workflow using the property of the poll in order to notify the contact owner. They get a message on Slack saying, okay, this person answered this on the poll, let's go.
That's really cool. And then and as Luke and them, we talk about like we're learning contrast. We love it. We're like operationalizing and them learning Supered. The reality is they could into that package add some with properties, add some workflows to say, here's how you can activate that in the future. I'm not telling him he's doing that, but I'm saying he probably wants to give those workflows to people as well. So.
No, 100%. I mean, there's so many use cases that we still see on the horizon. Truth be told, I've been rushing this package to get it out of the door so that everyone could use it. I think what is now in the package is already super valuable, but we can go way deeper. Workflows, list building, etc.
Yeah, there's probably a V1, and then there's you probably have, and when I talk about super packages, I think you should make them modular. And there's the first, you do step 1 and step 2 would be the workflows and the list. Don't always just put them all in the same. And by the way, if you want to get the contrast package, it is the CTA has updated, so you have it right there. Nice in there. Okay. Any other Timmy things? D. If someone's just getting started with a virtual, gosh, this is so much better for me. If someone's just getting started with virtual events, what tips would you give them to take the plunge?
Content. Nobody's going to sign up to your event if they will not discover information that they can just Google, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. If you fail to create the content that makes people excited to join that webinar, they're not going to show up and you have nothing to show for. As a matter of fact, content is now becoming even more important because it's never been easier before to create super generic content. But if you actually want to repurpose that webinar, you need to have that base layer of content to be top-notch. That will be my best tip.
Yeah, and I'll give an example on what I think. If someone's just getting started with virtual events, what's the tips to take the plunge? I don't think like this. I don't think this way. So there's like part of I believe in surround bound, and I believe in reoccurring series. And the best way to get started is called consistency. And don't just start doing something and show up on a routine over and over again, and it will create, I use the word, it will create gravity. Like as you get bigger and bigger, things will start orbiting around it. It'll create its own gravity. So take the plunge means just do it. If you're doing a virtual event, I recommend you using contrast. And I just want to make this notice and never worry about any of the numbers. I mean, I've been posting on LinkedIn for 4 years, every single day. And I almost create with diary. And sometimes still I'll do something like 5 likes. It does not matter. That's not the reason you're doing it. So like here, we didn't have a lot of attendees today. That's not the reason we're doing this. We're doing this because we're going to put it on YouTube. We're going to propagate this. We're going to put this into our best practices, and we're going to use this for onboardings. We're going to teach people. Like there's so much value of just showing up. So how do you start virtual events? You just start virtual events and commit to some time. Commit to for the next 6 months, I'm going to do something every month. Commit. Yeah, and then to redistribute. And you'll get better at redistribution as you just get the engine.
Yeah.
Okay. We are at 11:45. I want to say thank you, Luke, for coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for spending the time. I think over time, as we're using contrast and showing like, here's what it looks like as a super user of contrast, and then here's what it looks like as a bigger, stronger, super user. Yeah, is we could do this again. And I think I think people will want to see this because I think they're going to, crap, I missed something really cool because I just saw stuff I've never seen before today.
Thanks. Amazing.
Yeah. So appreciate everybody. Just one note as we go is I will be, all this recording we'll distribute will be in Superjam. We'll have the YouTube, we'll push it out. If you want that contrast, you can get it right now, but we'll also be pushing it out to other people so you'll get it. There'll be other places and spaces for it. If you want to get in contact with Luuk, what's the best way for them to reach you, man?
Send me a message on LinkedIn. More than happy to help. Chat webinars, chat series, whatever you want to call it. Happy to chat. Repurposing, happy to chat. HubSpot, anything, always happy to chat. So find me on LinkedIn.
Let's end it with the last question because there is a question that I think is hot that I want to make sure we get your take on. It is.
Not up to me to decide. If it were, I would say yes. But we'll see. We'll see.
I know people that run some admin hugs that might want to do contrast versus other things. Not to name no one. Okay, appreciate everybody. Y'all stay awesome. Keep doing it big and never stop believing. Adios, everybody.
Cheers. Bye-bye.